just right here. You know, in our documents, in our assessment of Kinder Morgan and additional documents, you know, we know for a fact that 80% of our diet traditionally came from the water behind us, and you know it's been decimated. But we've been cleaning it. The first clam harvest we're going to have in over 30 years is going to be tomorrow. Actually, we had one last year, but that's the first time in 30 years. The salmon count for our main river went down to 6,000. We brought it up to 10 million in 10 years. You know, the elk reintroduction program reintroduced grizzly bears and wolves, and so we love what we have here. And this is our mother on Mother's Day. You have all our mothers here, our warriors, who are going to run a ceremony today. They're going to run a ceremony for those reasons that I'm saying, that we enhance what we have, we protect what we have, we love what we have. You know, what does a mother do? A mother feeds you, and that's what this water did behind us. So on Mother's Day here today, our matriarchs from Washington State, all the way from the Pacific Islands to Tsleil-Waututh, they're coming here to put blessings on the water, because everything that we got out of the water was good. And what Kinder Morgan is doing right there is not good. All the way from the pipeline, all the way through, they're killing things. You know, it's 92% chance, not chance, but 92% the spill's going to happen here, and that's something that we can't put up with. And what it's actually doing is filling the pockets of millionaires and billionaires. Their operation costs are 40%, their payouts are 10%, they're making 50%. What they want to make here is 50 million a day. And times that by 365 and times that by 20 pipelines. Christy Clark and Trudeau says it's for jobs, and that's BS. BS. It's a political decision that they made for their friends. They're incapable of making sound choices for the Canadian people. But we will, because we have been. We've been cleaning the water, we've been taking care of the water, and we'll continue to be stewards of the lands and waters like we have for thousands of years. But we're not alone. We have beautiful people from across our country, elected officials that are here, municipal, federal, and provincial. Our national leadership is also here. We have people from Washington State that are concerned because it's their waters that we share. Traditionally, we always shared and trade with one another, and they're here. And we have all the beautiful people here that are going to come out and paddle and share this prayer with my mother and all of our matriarchs. All of my elected council and chief are women. I'm very proud to say that. Same with where my children are, their mothers from in Tsleil-Waututh, all women elected in council. On Mother's Day, we're going to celebrate today and protect what we have. Protect our mother. What we are is Tsleil-Waututh people the water right there. So I'm your co-MC for today, and I'd like to introduce my brother Clayton, who's going to help me out.
Yeah, bonjour, danse, zonge benesi, anene tishnakas kinuto dem. My name is Clayton Thomas Mueller, and I'm the Stop It at the Source campaigner with 350.org, Global Climate Change Organization. We're standing here today in solidarity with our relatives in Tsleil-Waututh territory. We've been just back from an epic journey with representatives of small island nations who have traveled here to Canada to challenge the Canadian government, to challenge Prime Minister Trudeau, to honor his word that he made when he said that Canada is back at the Paris COP21. He promised small island nations that Canada would push for a 1.5 degree climate target, but yet came back and approved the Kinder Morgan pipeline and the Enbridge Line 3 pipeline. And so some of our relations from down south, you're going to hear from them today. They'll be part of our speakers that speak here shortly. They traveled to the Canadian tar sands to witness one of the primary drivers of the global climate crisis for themselves, to see what Canada is doing that's causing sea levels to rise, which is impacting them directly. You'll hear from them. I won't talk about that. But we've been supporting this journey in collaboration with Tsleil-Waututh, Sacred Trust, with many other partners, including Indigenous Climate Action. You'll hear from a representative from the Athabasca Chippewan First Nation. The Director of Indigenous Climate Action, Ariel Deranger, will wrap us up today. But we have many speakers. We should get to hearing from them, not from the MCs. So we'll get to that. You want to introduce the first speaker, Ruben?
I'm happy to introduce my mother who motivated a lot of people with her words when we did a referendum in Tsleil-Waututh Nation. She said, you know, it's time to warrior up. And they did. It's 100% consensus by Tsleil-Waututh Nation to stand behind my mother and our elected leaders. So my mom's going to do a welcome here. Amy Marie George, better known as Ta'a.
Well, so my spirit name is Kalia, and my government name is Amy George. I talk about my ancestry all the time. I come from Tsleil-Waututh, Chief Tsleil-Waututh, and my dad, Tsleil-Waututh. Yeah, my father is Chief Dan George, and he had the two names, still lot string. We've been here, according to the clan bands, 30,000 years. During that time, we had no endangered species. The water was clean. You could drink from any creek that runs down from the mountain. We had the fish run, the deer and the rabbit and the grouse. We had everything that we needed was right here in this inlet. And it's been years since we've been able to go out into our clam baths and take out the crabs and oysters for years now because the water has turned poison. My grandchildren, they won't know the water the way that I did. I feel really bad for my grandchildren because I have known and loved this land my whole life. I'm a great-grandmother now. And my life here is coming to an end. And I remember my dad saying once that, I said, Daddy, they're going to remove us and put us somewhere else and they're going to make this the world's biggest seaport. And he said, let them try. They try to do that to me. That's the only time I'll take up my gun. I'll protect this land. Why did my ancestors die? We were wiped out to 13 people on contact. We populated both sides of this inlet. Why did they die if I'm just going to get moved somewhere else? He said, no, I'm going to stay here. I'll die here before I leave. And I thought to myself, I got very frightened. I thought my dad is willing to die here. Now that I'm this age as a grandmother and a great-grandmother, I know how he feels because I feel the same way now. Because I want my great-grandchildren to know these waters and these lands the way that I did. We protected it. There was limited population. Now we're getting to a point where this earth can't even feed all the people. And people are getting artificial insemination and doing everything to bring even more and more people when the earth is dying. So it doesn't make any sense. If you love where you live, that if you learn something today from this whole thing, love where you live, take care of it, watch out for it, don't just, you say, would you throw your cigarette butt in your mother's face, your trash, your plastic bottles? Would you do that to your own mother? Well, don't do it to Mother Earth. Okay, thank you all for coming. Welcome to Tsleil-Waututh land. I hope you get a feeling for this land and take care of it, take our example and live it.
Okay, so thank you. So next, so I just want to point out our three elected leaders, Charlene, Alec, Deanna, and Michelle Georges, and they're three of our elected leaders, and so you know they're happy with what my mom said, and they're. Thank you very much. So next is Regional Chief, and a long ally of the George family. Our families have long connections with both the sides of the Manuel family. So Judy Wilson, Regional Chief, and her mother, and Kanahus.
Executive member to Union BC Indian Chiefs, Chief Judy Wilson. We're from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation in the interior, and we're here today to stand in solidarity with our Tsleil-Waututh Nation, with all the nations across the land, against the Kinder Morgan pipeline, the pipelines that are going to be polluting our lands. As our grandmother had just said, all of our grandmothers are standing together against the pipeline. And we're also standing with the Dakota Sioux and with the Nebraska tribes and with the Blackfoot Confederation. They're having a ceremony, the Sacred Hoop, on May 17th in Calgary at Glenbow Museum. We're going to take the grandmothers' messages from here. We're going to carry them to the Blackfoot Confederation so that Sacred Hoop will be strengthened against the pipeline, because our Mother Earth is sacred to all of us. Our Mother Earth is all of that we are. Without our Mother Earth, we are nothing. We need to protect the water. We need to protect the people. We don't want Tsleil-Waututh displaced. We don't want any of our nations displaced on the land. And the Union BC Indian Chiefs have walked the tar sands. We've paddled the Peace River. We have been on the land supporting the people, and we'll continue to do that because it's the right thing. With climate change, we cannot continue to pollute the earth the way it is or send more carbon into the air. We have to stop. We all have to be part of that change. Our grandmothers are crying out today on Mother's Day across Turtle Island. Stop the pipeline. Stop the damage to Mother Earth. It's one of the biggest pollutions that will factor into climate change. And it's not acceptable. In 2007, there was an oil spill here on the inlet here. And they're still trying to clean all of that up, and with the damage it's done. And did they ever say to the people here, we have your consent? The people said, no, you don't have our consent to the pipeline. So we all stand together in solidarity with Mother Earth and the Tsleil-Waututh Nation on this day. And we ask all of the grandmothers and mothers across Turtle Island, stand up, because that is the awakening. The mothers need to lead that change for the water protection. My mother here, Minnie, she is doing her water walk along with the many grandmothers across the land to change. We all need to change and be part of that change, because we cannot accept corporate greed over humanity and human rights. They have to be instilled in all of us, because we all have to exist on planet Earth, our Mother Earth, for all of us to care for Mother Earth. On this day and every day moving forward, there'll be ceremonies. Our hands go up to our grandmother doing the water ceremony today, and we'll carry those messages in our heart. We'll carry those messages to our nation, and we'll carry it to our children. The change has to happen now. And we appreciate the invite to the Tsleil-Waututh lands, the homelands here, and we also appreciate the ceremonies and the messages they're bringing to all of our nations. Cook's Jam.
Tsleil-Waututh. My name is Kanahus Manuel. I'm from the Secwepemc Nation. I'm here to stand in solidarity also with the Tsleil-Waututh people. The Secwepemc Nation is one of the biggest territories in so-called British Columbia, unceded territory. We have never signed treaties. Right now, the threat is the Trans Mountain Kinder Morgan pipeline. 900,000 barrels per day proposed to come through this pipeline, all the way from Jasper to outside Kamloops is the length of the pipeline that goes through our territory. Over half of the Trans Mountain Kinder Morgan pipeline goes through Secwepemc territory. As a Secwepemc woman, I'm here with my children. I'm a mother of 4, and it's really important as a mother to stand up to our responsibility as Secwepemc people. Right now, we are in the battle for the hearts and minds of everybody from British Columbia and Canada. We need to be able to stop this. We're going to need all the mothers of this province to be on board, because this impacts our children. As a traditional midwife and a birth worker, I know the importance of clean water as our babies are carried in the womb for 9 months. And it's that water from that mother's breaking womb is those birthing waters. And these are the birthing waters that are being formed in our territories, in our mountains. The Fraser River is formed, and the headwaters come from Secwepemc territory. The Thompson Rivers, and even the Athabasca and Peace Rivers, the sacred headwaters form within the Secwepemc territory. So we come from the territory of the spilling waters. And this Trans Mountain pipeline proposes to go through thousands of creeks and streams. And that's why we stand in unity with everybody along this pipeline route. Our salmon is sacred, and It's the lifeblood of every indigenous person in this land.
Thank you so much. So, as I mentioned, I want to invite up our relatives who traveled so far to come up here and send a message directly to Justin Trudeau to honor his word, the Paris Agreement. You know, we're going to have 2 speakers here. We have 3 Pacific Climate Warriors that have traveled here. 2 years ago, the Pacific Climate Warriors built traditional watercraft, and they traveled to Australia and they shut down the world's largest coal export terminal with prayer. And that's why, you know, we got to talking and we thought that we should organize a tour called Raise a Paddle and go all the way to the tar sands to see another carbon bomb known as Canada's tar sands. And so they just got back the other day here to BC from Alberta, from Cree, Dene, and Métis territory in and around Fort McMurray, and they bear witness to the tar sands. And we thought that we would come here to stand in solidarity with our Tsleil-Waututh relatives in their fight against Kinder Morgan. And so, you know, I'll leave it to them to speak. Which one first? First speaker is Radina Savia from Samoa. So please.
Tsleil-Waututh, my name is Radina Savia from the tropical islands of Samoa. We also stand here together in solidarity with the people of the land to protect our lands and our waters. We are also connected by the water. There's 15 different island nations that make up what's called the Pacific Climate Warriors, which we are part of. And climate change affects us in numerous ways, from cyclones to sea level rise to salt intrusion to the security of our food. So the reason why we're here today is because we're the first to disappear if expansions like the Kinder Morgan still exist.
And our next speaker from the South Pacific Warriors is George Nadewa. He's from the island state of Fiji. So, George.
Pulubinaka, again, George Nadewa. I pay tribute, first and foremost, to the people of this land for giving us the opportunity to be part of this ceremony. We in the Pacific face the impacts of climate change every day. Sea level rise, a change in weather patterns. Our hurricane season was from November to April. Just last week, in the month of May, there were 2 cyclones going through the Pacific. And it's because of expansions like this. And that's why we are here together in solidarity with our Pacific brothers and sisters in the 15 island nations with the people of this land to tell Prime Minister Trudeau that keep your promise. You know, we are also human beings. We have the right to life, and the expansion of this fossil fuel industry is exporting destruction to the Pacific.
Thank you. I just want to also acknowledge our South Pacific coordinator, the coordinator of the Pacific Climate Warriors, Kareti Timalu, who is also from Samoa by way of Aotearoa, New Zealand. But I just wanted to acknowledge her. Her colleagues said everything that they need to say. So they'll be available later if you want to speak to the one-on-one.
So I'd like to call up, again, elected leader from the Tulalip tribes, Teresa Sheldon, who I know has lived a traditional life of paddling, owning her own canoes and paddling on the water and teaching her children that. Every year she goes on a journey. And this is my son, Cedar, George Parker. His Tsleil-Waututh, but it's also Tulalip, and this is his mother, my very good friend Deborah Parker, who worked with Bernie Sanders and worked really hard to get him elected, and also President Obama. But they're environmentalists too. It's just embedded in who they are as the matriarchs of their community. So Deborah Parker and Teresa Sheldon.
Haslahale, Teresa Sheldon Seedsta, Tsleil-Waututh Flailip, Tigwood Seed Ruben, Tsleil-Waututh Nation. I'm Teresa Sheldon, Tsleil Tribe's Board of Director, and we're here today to stand with our relatives and say hell no. And we're here to say that this water right behind us is the same water that us, the Tsleil people who are of the killer whale, share. This is the Kalkalahh water. This is the water that our sulads, our salmon, share. This is the water that our kiltmeads share. Our canoes share this same water. What happens to Tsleil-Waututh Nation happens to Tsleil tribes. And it's not okay. It's not acceptable. And we're not going to just allow it to happen without a fight. So we're here today to stand with our relatives and say it's not going to happen. On behalf of Tsleil tribes, Suquamish Nation, we and Earth Justice filed a suit against the United States Coast Guard. And we filed a suit against them to protect the killer whale. And to say you cannot allow these super tankers to go through our Puget Sound, through our islands, through our waterways that are protected by a treaty that is the supreme law of the land. You cannot take that away because of money. You cannot take that away because oil has more significance than our life. We have always been here and we will continue to be here. And we will continue to speak for our salmon, we'll continue to speak for our killer whales, for our wildlife, for our way of life, and for the water. And so that's why we're here today to say no more. And so we look forward to when that case comes forward and it shows the United States Coast Guard did not protect our killer whales like they are supposed to. And they did not put EIS through to protect them and show super tankers will harm them and will be a detriment to our way of life. Also, I'm second vice president of AT&I. It's Affiliate Tribes of Northwest Indians. We serve 56 tribes across 6 states in the United States. And of those, our ocean tribes are already devastatedly impacted by climate change. Quinault Nation, Hoh Nation, you have Quileute. All of them have had to move to higher grounds to protect their people. Their schools, their public schools have had to move to higher levels because of sea level rising. So it's not when climate change is going to happen, because we're already seeing it today. It's already impacting us right now. You're seeing that with our traditional foods, with our huckleberries, with all of our things that are already changing. The seasons are changing, the storms are increasing, it's becoming more danger. The rain, you know, we used to have beautiful little nice rain in the Pacific Northwest, and now it's torrential downpours that are impacting our way of life, and it is not going to stop unless we do something about it as human beings. So it's a call to action to every human being who wants to ensure we have an earth for our next 7 generations, for our children's children's children, to please step forward and help us. Help us and stand with us and protect our Mother Earth as we know it.
ACM Tsleil-Waututh Sitsta. My traditional name is Tsleil-Waututh. It goes 7 generations back on my grandmother's side. She was a Snohomish native located in the state of Washington. And so I'm here to stand with the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, to stand with our dear Ta'a, Amy Marie George, to stand with the leaders and the many people here today to say no to Kinder Morgan. We absolutely oppose any more tankers and pipelines to come across these lands. And you may say, who am I? I'm from across the border. Well, I don't see those borders. Not in this stance. I don't see it at all. My children, this is my son here, Cedar Scaluse, is his traditional name. He played on the beaches here with his cousins and his relatives from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. So it is my job and my responsibility, my duty, my inherent right to come here and to stand with my son and his family, his grandmother, his Ta'a, to stand here to say no more destruction. We need these lands to be safe for our children to swim. These are the waters that are very sacred. We don't see, as our councilwoman Teresa Sheldon stated, we don't see We don't see those boundaries in this way. Those waters are the same waters. Same waters our canoes go on. And today we're going to go out on the canoe. And that, to me, for the last 5 years, I've been out in the water. And so on Mother's Day, there's no greater honor than to stand up and to protect the lands and the waters on behalf of my children and on behalf of the next generations. And my last message I'd like to share is on behalf of our revolution, the National Our Revolution. It's a revolution that was started by Bernie Sanders, Senator Bernie Sanders. We stand united and say no to the tankers, no to Kinder Morgan, no more destruction to the land. We say no more fracking, and we stand behind the millions of people in the United States who join us and across the nations that say no more destruction. We're ready for clean energy. We're ready for a better way of life. No more destruction. And so that's why we stand here. We stand united. We stand with lock arms. And we will not stop until this destruction stops as well. So we're here with you, and we thank you once again. We thank the Tsleil-Waututh people for this invitation, and we stand here with great honor.
So we, as you've seen, we have lifelong relationships with Interior Salish. We have lifelong relationships across that medicine line and into our relations in Tulalip and further. But we have like these coalitions. And Andrew Weaver, he called and sent a message and said, sorry, he couldn't make it this, but a message out to them that, you know, 56% of the voters voted that we didn't want Christy Clark because she approves these pipelines. We needed the governments to come together and join one another and listen to what the people want, and that's no pipelines, you know. And so I call on that, and we as Indigenous people support that the coalition of the Green and the NDP come together, because we come together. The Canadian people come together. When people find out the true facts of the destruction that this causes, 71% of Burnaby residents support the Tsleil-Waututh Nation and soon Canada for not consulting us. And those are people who are properly educated. Once I see British Columbians and Canadians educated on the true facts of the destruction this causes, they'll want to make better choices for their future generations too. Yes. And we have relations all the way down to the Keystone pipelines. In 2013, we went down there to support the nations there that were standing up, and that was the Yankton Sioux. They hosted us for a week-long conference on pipelines. But the first 2 days, like we do here, was done in ceremony. Like we did with our relations in Interior Salish and Haida Gwaii, like we did with our relations down in Washington State. We started with ceremony, and that's what we're doing here today. But during those times in South Dakota, they created something called the Cowboy and Indian Alliance, and we gave them a name, called them the New CIA. But this is hereditary. This hereditary chief, my uncle Phil Lane Jr. From Yankton Sioux, South Dakota.
Mitakuyepi, I'd like to give a real great Thanksgiving. They said it was going to rain heavy today. We have our prayers. But I want to give Thanksgiving on this Mother's Day to every mother here, but also Thanksgiving to our Mother Earth. And yet, look what we do to her. We cut her hair where it shouldn't be cut up. We drill holes inside of her and suck her blood out. Then we put things inside and blow her bones up. And I ask you, what would happen if you did that to your mother? She'd die. And that's exactly what's happening, but we will go way before our mother. We're digging our own graves, Mitakuyepi, across the world, not just here, but the Tsleil-Waututh and all the relatives here on this unshredded, unceded land. Remember that. It's been unshredded, unceded. Never given up. Are standing against this Kinder Morgan. And I have to just add this. Whether or not you have a relationship with your mother, whether a human mother or Mother Earth, the same. No different. Just if you look at this economically, all the experts are coming out now and saying oil is not going to go up again. If you're just plainly a business person, you're stupid. It's a stupid economic investment to put billions of dollars into infrastructure that'll be running empty very soon. Instead, we need to invest that money into green technologies, into making people so they have a home to live in with fresh water to drink. To make sure that every human being on this land, especially those who are so beautifully mentioned in Chief Dan George's talk he gave almost 50 years ago. It's no different what he said 50 years ago about what's happening in this country than now. Last word, we are united across Turtle Island and around the world. You're not dealing just with a small group here. There's the Treaty Alliance, international treaty to protect the sacred tar sands projects. There's all kinds of treaties being signed, and when we sign our treaty, it's with our blood. So I just want to say that much, and I thank you again, Tsleil-Waututh. Great people, wonderful people, and everybody here. How?
Also, to Tsleil-Waututh, before I introduce the next, we only have a couple of speakers, so thank you for your patience, but we'd like to invite you all for dinner when we do ceremony. That's an important part of it. Come and join us at our hall in Tsleil-Waututh Nation. But, you know, of course, we just had our elections, and so I'm going to have them talk and introduce about their ridings, but Rick Lukeman and Janet Rutledge. So thank you very much for coming and supporting this prayer that we're doing here.
Yeah, my name is Rick Lumak, and I feel so honored to be here today with all of you and to have had the great fortune of being elected in Port Moody, Coquitlam. And we were elected saying proudly that we stand against Kinder Morgan expansion, and we'll do everything we can to stop the expansion. And we stand here with the water behind us, and the water unites all of our communities, Port Moody, Burnaby, all of the communities around here, and a spill in this water will affect all of us irreparably. And we stand in front of this water united. The water unites all of us, and we're all here united, and we'll stop this. Yeah.
My name's Janet Rutledge, and I was recently elected as the MLA for Burnaby North, right over there. And it means a lot to me that my first official act as a representative of the Legislative Assembly is to be here in solidarity with you.
Wow.
You know, that seat was held for 16 years by a representative of a party that is closely allied with Kinder Morgan. And less than a week ago, the people of Burnaby North showed profound solidarity with you and faith in themselves and faith in each other that we could actually stand up to Kinder Morgan and beat them. And I know that my job as an MLA is to reflect that solidarity, to deepen that solidarity, and to expand that solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you.
And so, thank you so much. Thank you. Our final speaker for our presser here, and then speakers, just remember, we're going to do a picture with the big banner here for all of the members of the press, and you will have an opportunity to speak one-on-one to give questions once we do that. But our final speaker here, last but not least, is a good friend of mine, someone I've been organizing with for many, many years. She has been at the forefront of the international campaign to stop the expansion of the Alberta tar sands and its associated infrastructure like the Kinder Morgan expansion project, the Director of Indigenous Climate Action and Executive Assistant to the Chief of her nation. Please join me in welcoming Ariel Deranger from Athabasca Chippewa First Nation.
Itlanate, Dene Sotlane, Ariel Tsaekwe, Tahushe. My name is Ariel Tsaekwe, and I come from the Athabasca Chippewa First Nation, a community that's located downstream from the largest infrastructure project on planet Earth, Alberta's tar sands. The very pipeline that will leave our community will ship the oil that's robbed from our ground in our traditional territory and leaves in its pathway destruction, contamination, and devastation that will last over 100 years per project. There are currently 154 approved tar sands projects in northern Alberta. 26 in my people's traditional territory alone. There are another 16 set for approval right now. With the largest ever proposed tar sands mine, the Teck Frontier Mine, being proposed and in the regulatory system right now under a government that has made promises for regulatory reform, commitments to climate, and commitments to Indigenous peoples. And yet we've seen failure and failure time and time again by both provincial and federal governments to live up to these commitments. Instead, they're railroading the largest ever proposed tar sands mine and associated Kinder Morgan pipeline, KXL, Line 3, Line 9, one after the other, leading to the destruction of Indigenous territories, the destruction of our cultures and our identities that are intrinsically linked to the places where we come from. I am Kaithale Dene Sotlane, people of the willow, people of the land. Like my brothers and sister here, we are of the land. What happens to the land happens to us. People are talking about climate change and the people in the Pacific Islands are going to be the first to disappear, but it's going to be the Indigenous peoples whose territories are ripped apart and torn apart to contribute to their demise that will disappear with it. We don't think about the climate refugees that are here now, right now. It's time for us to take direct action. A lot of people ask me, what does Indigenous climate action mean? This is Indigenous climate action. We have been doing it since the time of colonization, standing up and protecting Mother Earth, our culture, our identities, the headwaters, and the lands and where we come from. Indigenous climate action has been happening since the time the colonialists came here to this land. It's time to support Indigenous peoples in the protections of their lands, their waterways, and their territories. Otherwise, we will all disappear. Masicho,
Okay.
hi.
Okay. So, any questions?
Our speakers can come back up for questions.
Going once.
Can you talk about a bit more about the ceremony that you guys are going to do?
So, we have our traditional medicine that it's very holy to Coast Salish people, and like I said earlier, everything that we get out of the water is good. We knew this all along, but we have studies that are factual that have proven that 80% of our diet came from this water. So we have water ceremonies and salmon ceremonies. When we catch the first salmon, we share with the whole community and give it back to the ocean. And we have ceremonies for everything. But this is our mother here behind us, Tsleil-Waututh people, and we want to do a prayer that to make sure, like we have done for thousands of years, just put only goodness back into the water. And that's what that prayer is to put medicine down to make sure only goodness goes back into our water. And then it's our sisters that have been, and our mothers that have been running the ceremony, because they have that connection of regenerating life, where they could carry two spirits when they're carrying a baby for 9 months. So they have a spiritual reciprocal relationship. Like the men might not understand, but them as being able to regenerate life. And that's what we want. We want the waters to regenerate, and that's the prayer, but we want it to be protected by anything that harms it. You know, I hear my family say we'll do anything to protect what we love. You heard the mother of my kids say that we'll do whatever we can to protect what we love, and that's our kids. But we have a reciprocal love and relationship to the lands and waters, and that's it that we're protecting, and it starts with a prayer. Always starts with a prayer.
Are there any other questions?
I have a couple of questions for the two newly elected officials. We just elected Justin Trudeau, and recently when he talked about the approval of the Kinder Morgan pipeline, the first words out of his mouth were reconciliation means we're not all going to be happy with the decisions that are made. Right? And when I heard him say that, I was truly disappointed, because he had said throughout his campaign that change was going to happen. And change did happen. It kind of got worse. So, like...
Sorry, can you ask your question?
Yeah, I'm wondering what your plans are, like...
With Justin?
With the pipeline, I think she means.
I don't even know what the question is.
pipeline.
I'm just saying I'm having a hard time trusting the system at this point.
Well, the position of our party, the BCNDP, was that we would do everything in our power to stop the Kinder Morgan pipeline expansion, and that hasn't changed.
And also we want to bring together the climate leadership team in the first 100 days and revisit all of the recommendations that were ignored by the BC Liberals. So.
Thank you. Awesome, thank you. Are you a member of the press?
No.
Okay, then you can ask the question afterwards. Okay, we're going to do a shot of all of our speakers here for members of the press. Y'all want to step back about like 5 feet and get together, just the speakers? And can we get our banner over here right in the front? We're going to do a quick shot, and then everybody just be patient, mingle, grab a coffee. You know, we're going to get started with the canoe ceremony right away. So let's get Cindy, Debbie, Teresa, Michelle, Deanna. We're going to lay it flat in front of them.
What's that?
I'm all fired up.
Guys, link your arms.
You want it kind of brought up a little bit?
Yeah, right in the bottom part there.
Yeah, there we go. Cover up my stomach, please.
Cedar.
He's way back there.
Cedar.
Ruben, place you gotta get into.
I think you're up.
Eugene.
Eugene. Eugene. Eugene.
Many blocks.
Eugene.
Can we move the sticks back there? Thank you. Is everyone here in the picture?
Ready? Everyone do a fist. Right.
And look right here.
Need a fish?
Look at the center camera, everybody.
Center camera right here. Yeah, try fist to the heart. No. Peace sign. Do we want to say water is life?
Yes. Water is life.
1, 2, 3.
Water is life.
1, 2, 3.
Water is life.
Hey, before everyone leaves, we have to coordinate who's going in the canoes. Everyone here, that's Eugene over there waving his hat. But everyone here, if you choose to go in the canoes, you're all welcome to. Everyone right here. Then we have some guests, Eddie Gardner and some of the relations that came in from other areas. We want you in the canoe as well.
Canoe people, come meet me in the corner. And for media, sit down there in the neon jacket. And everybody is welcome to come to the battle at the Tsleil-Waututh Hall in the community after the ceremony.
Also, my son here with a couple of his uncles, my uncles, is going to also have a water ceremony here for the people that are sitting on the shore with us. Drum, come sing.
Hey, hey, hey. Yahee-oh, yahee-oh, hey, hey, yahee-oh, yahee-oh.
All the ladies want to join, go join them. Any of you ladies want to join? Don't be shy, go join them. All of their mothers.
maybe Peter can do some interviews with people.
So right in the picnic area.
I can talk
Everyone who wants a paddle, get up there.
Where is Peter?
We need paddlers.
I know.
Yeah. Seriously? Yeah, on a long line though. You know what I mean? Huh.
Do you want to interview people now?
We can interview people while we're... But I'm going to do the ceremony soon.
I could talk to you and give you some context while he's getting ready for the next thing if you want.
Is it live right now?
Yeah.
Oh, so hey, we're out here live from the gutter. Vancouver, you know what it is, Mother's Day. So, you know, we're out here with solidarity, you know, celebration of life, a ceremony of life, you know. We want to say, you know, we want to keep this water nice and beautiful because, like, what happens when I'm thirsty, you know? What happens when I want to water? What happens when I want to take a shower, when I want to bath, when I want to cool off in the water? What happens if an oil spill happens, you know? Like, what am I going to do? Like, you know, just when I'm simply thirsty. Like, that's crazy, you know? As I sit here across this symbol of destruction, across from this symbol of, like, not good stuff, it's like, I'm sitting here with my little brother out here, and it's like, people say, you know, you're doing such good work, you know, like, how do you feel about it? It's like, I'm not doing good work, I'm being a good older brother. You know, I'm being a good brother, you know, I'm sticking up for my little brother. He's in the first grade, you know, and you know, he's still young, so I'm out here fighting for him. I'm being a good older brother by being out here. I'm not being an activist, I'm not being an environmentalist, I'm not, you know, capitalist, socialist, you know, communist or whatnot. No, I'm just a human being that wants to have fresh water. You know, I'm just a human being that wants my little brother to grow up in a world without being terrified of his future. Like how I'm terrified of my future right now, because it's that simple. It's like, what happens when I want to drink water? What happens when I want to take a shower? What happens when an oil spill happens? I won't be able to use these necessities that are human, you know? It's like, it's crazy. But yeah, we're out here. Let's go talk to some people. You know what it is, like, you know, beautiful British Columbia. Let's keep it beautiful, right? Might as well. So yeah, let's go talk to some people.
Go ask Uncle there what he thinks.
Oh, Nancy, do you want to say a couple things? How do you feel today? What does this mean to you? What does this mean to you?
Oh gosh, no, I'm not good live. No, but this is everything, right? This is there's no life without this. There's no breath without this. You know, our bodies are 90% water. You know, if we don't have connection and access to healthy water, then, you know, we're not going to be healthy ourselves. We never stop being nature.
Yeah.
I think there's been a real disconnect between culture and nature, and there's never been that disconnect amongst Indigenous nations. They get it, right? So we have to, as settler people and Western people and people around the world who have had that disconnect, we have to get it back, or, you know, we're going to see our own demise. So wake up, honor all that lives, you know, so that we can have a future.
Thank you.
Ta-da!
Yeah. Go talk to people.
Yeah, let's go talk to some people, you know. So it's a beautiful day, it's supposed to rain, but people are still here, you know. And now it's nice, but, you know, I'm dressed up like it's supposed to be, you know, bad, but hey, lucky me, right? So maybe let's go talk to some people, you know, let's go see who looks like they're open to say something. Hey, excuse me. Is that okay if I ask you a question for Facebook Live?
Sure.
All right, what does this mean to you, all of this?
Well, what it means to me
Oh,
is...
wait, first off, who are you, where are you from, and then what does this mean to you? Sorry.
My name is Elizabeth Kozlowski. I live on the North Shore. I'm an artist. And I just can't believe the greed and ignorance of our government to act against basic human needs, human earth rights. It's just hard to comprehend that this is going on. So I'm here to support the cause.
Thank you.
I agree with everything was said.
Sweet. No, thank you. Nice to know that. Nice to meet you, Elizabeth. My name's
Nice
Cedar,
to
by the
meet
way.
you.
Welcome to Tsleil-Waututh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me, sir. Would you like to say a couple words? Can I ask you a question?
No, I don't want to be on camera. I don't.
Oh.
Sorry, sir.
Oh, he's part of Sacred Trust. You know you don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
I'm good with acting.
What's your name again?
Camera. My name is Adam Vanderson.
Adam Vanderson. Yeah, follow him on Facebook, Sacred Trust. He's helped leading the fight. You know, we're young. We're out here. This is the team.
Yeah.
This is young Haley. So, what does this mean to you, Haley?
What does this place mean to me?
Like, what is this whole ceremony? Everybody coming out here. What does this whole atmosphere mean to you?
I think, especially on Mother's Day, looking at our Mother Earth, I know I've grown up in Vancouver. I'm really grateful for being able to call this place my home. And the water here, you know, like when I go traveling, I miss the taste of our water here. And I feel so lucky to be able to just have clean water come right out of my tap. And I wouldn't want anything to threaten that. So yeah, I'm happy that people like Cedar stopping Kinder Morgan.
Like you too. So like, if it wasn't for her, it wouldn't be me. So this is the Sacred Trust team right here. We're the ones, you know, we're the young team fighting standing up against this pipeline, you know, standing up against this. That's why, yeah, we're
matching. You're kind of matching.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Red and black's our colors.
Yeah.
Not my red.
But yeah, so like this is our young team right here, you know, like we're all young, a lot of us are young people in Sacred Trust because, I don't know.
And we have Kevin.
Yeah, and Kevin. Operating the camera.
Operating the cell phone.
Then we have Ben around here somewhere. Katrina is out in the office making sure everybody gets this stuff. My little brother yelling at me. So yeah, this is the team, man. Like we're gonna stop this 100%, right?
We're gonna fight and stop a pipeline, save the planet. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, save some islands, save some people. You know,
save everyone.
So yeah, add us on Facebook. You know, follow our story or whatnot. You know, follow us. And like I said, we're out here on the water ceremony with the Islanders from Fiji. If you just tuned in, yeah, with the Islanders from Fiji came out here because their island is gonna go underwater because of the effects of because of the effects of the everything bad going on in the environment. I guess planet change. You could start from coal extraction, water extraction. This is my little brother. Hey, come here. What does this all mean to you?
Nice try. Get him back. Get him back.
Yeah, so like we're out here. Let's go talk to some people.
How about Uncle Lee back there?
Where do you work? Oh. He's gonna do a talk later. We're gonna for the ceremony, the online. And then so stay tuned for the on-land ceremony because while they're out there doing a water ceremony, we're gonna take a bowl of water, bring it here, and we're gonna get all the people to pray with it. You know, pray on it. So, yeah. Hey, can you get a question for Facebook Live? All right, cool. What's your name?
I'm Steph.
Steph, nice to meet you, Steph. Where are you from?
I'm a student at UBC.
Oh, nice. All right, so I guess what does this mean to you? Like this whole atmosphere, the pipeline, what's going on here? You know, like what is this for you? Like what is this?
Yeah, I think this is a really important event, standing in solidarity with frontline communities against tar sands expansion. As we heard before, there are folks from the Pacific Island nations here, and they're going to be in a couple years' time. Their native homelands are going to be put underwater, and there's so many communities here that are also at risk. So I think it's so important for us to stand in solidarity with land defending groups who are standing up for their rights and against corporate greed. We heard the Women's Warrior song before, which was beautiful, really honoring mothers and honoring the women on front lines who are fighting these battles as well.
Yeah. So what are some what do you do? You're just a student, right?
I'm also a staff member with 350.org.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so...
Oh,
yeah.
I've never worked with you. I don't think I've ever met
No, I
you.
know. I meant to introduce myself.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk later, okay? But right now we're getting some interviews, so like, yeah, that's awesome. You know, so we got all sorts of people out here doing stuff. So we got artists, students, kids from the hood. I'm playing. We got everybody out here. We got gingers. We got brunettes, blondes. But as you can see here, you can tell there's a lot of ethnicities here, a lot of different people. It doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter where you come from, how you pray, how you eat. We're all coming together for love. We're all going forward with that love to stop this pipeline. We're stopping that symbol of destruction and dirtiness. So let's go around and talk to more people. Hey, can I ask you a couple?
I might not go out.
Okay, I gotta go do some organizing, so maybe.
You want me to do some talking? Sure.
Or here, you can take over. My boy right here will take over.
I can do the filming. How are your arms doing there, Kevin?
They're doing okay.
Everybody watching this, please send your shout out and thank yous to Kevin for standing there this whole time holding this camera.
Come right here.
What? Let's go and ask a couple other people some questions. What do you think?
Tell them yourself.
Let's see. Who should we ask a question to? How about, let's go see if we can talk to Deborah Parker over there, maybe.
Are you pedaling? Kevin's pedaling? You're pedaling? You're pedaling?
Not howling. Make it wet.
Let's see. Let's interview these guys.
Hello, man.
We've got a Facebook Live broadcast
you?
happening right now. How are you?
Hi there.
Hi. Can I ask you some questions for Facebook Live audience?
Yes, absolutely.
This is the Tsleil-Waututh Nation Sacred Trust Initiative Facebook Live.
Okay.
Just wanted to warn you before I walked up.
Yeah,
with the camera in your
yeah.
face.
By the way.
By the way.
Right, you're
How are you?
I am well. I'm really excited to be here, actually.
Cool.
I'm glad to be able to come out.
What brought you in here today?
Well, I feel like whatever I have in me in terms of energies, gifts, anything I can offer to try to protect the water, I want to show up for that. And so to hear that we're gathering together on Mother's Day to pray together, it felt really important to be here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about you two? Sorry, I don't know if you want to be part of this.
I'm like,
Like, where are you guys from?
I am from Vancouver. I'll say I'm from Vancouver, although I haven't been here for such a long time. But yeah, I've been working on a book about water for the last 14 years, and so to me, this kind of coming together around water is one of the most important things that we can do right now.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
What brought you here today?
I've just been, over the years, becoming more and more of a water caretaker, learning how to be a water caretaker and getting to be with other people that are caring about water and taking action to support water is really important. So,
fantastic.
yeah, and something incredible about feeling people coming together from different parts of the world, and recognizing the linkages between these projects that seem like very local issues and connecting them globally. I think it's a very, very powerful thing.
Yes, indeed.
And it gives me a lot of hope to see these kinds of connections being made, like watching the speakers from the region here and from other parts of Turtle Island, and then, feeling the way the ocean connects us to people in the Pacific is really, really powerful. And recognizing water as that medium of connection that carries influences forever. So, yeah, what was being said about putting only good things into the water is really critical right now, and always.
Spoke to me too.
Yeah.
Is this the first one of these water ceremonies you've been to? Or?
On this particular land, but I've participated in other water ceremonies.
Right. Cool. Well, thanks so much for coming.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Quite the honor to be part of it. For sure.
Yeah, it is definitely.
Yeah. And thanks to Kevin for holding that phone for
Yes.
over an hour now. Cool. Well, I think we're going to wander around and keep asking people questions.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Cedar's doing a on the land version of the water ceremony.
Yeah,
if you,
I'm going to be
aren't
in
on
for
a
that.
canoe.
Yes,
There might be room on a canoe though if you want to be
Are
on a
you
canoe.
going to be on a canoe?
I think I'm going to hang out with Cedar on the land unless Ruben asks me specifically to come out on the water.
Yeah.
I think he told you to be on the water.
Although it is a lovely day to be out on the water today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice to see
Good.
you.
Yes. Thanks.
All right. Let's see. Should we talk to you now? I really wanted to ask Sam over here his thoughts. Let's see how he feels about being on camera. This old troublemaker over here.
He's my uncle.
Yeah. Hey, Uncle.
Awesome.
Good. How are you?
Hi.
Hey, this is the Tsleil-Waututh Nation Sacred Trust Facebook Live feed right now. Do you mind if we ask you a couple questions on camera?
Go ahead.
All right. Hi, Uncle. How are you?
Good, good.
Can you tell me a little bit about what brought you here today?
Well, we heard there's going to be a paddle out to desecrated land over there.
Uh-huh.
And we're going to offer some prayers, and I just wanted to be a part of it. Nephew Ruben, of course, phoned me up and invited me, and that's why I'm here, just to give support.
Are you going to help Cedar with the water ceremony on land, or?
Yeah, that's what he said. If they asked me to do that, I'm just waiting.
What does the water mean to you? What does protecting the water mean to you?
Life. It means life. You know, I was just looking at everything here, all those yellow plants, or at least eat them like potato chips. I wouldn't dare now.
Yeah.
You know, and it was sustained by the water, like us. It just means life. I think of my childhood, swimming and walking out feeling clean, not feeling like oil.
What do you think, like whoever's watching this, I'm sure there's people from all over the place who are watching the video right now. Do you have anything in particular you think people should be thinking about or should be doing?
Well, we should be thinking about our future, thinking about our life, our grandchildren, our children. They're the ones that are going to really need it. Everything's going to be replaced. You're going to have to go to a museum to see a tree. That's my prediction. You know, and we have to take care of it all. And if we don't have that, if you look at all the scientists exploring the other planets, the first thing they look for is ice. They're looking for water. They know what's going to keep our life going. And maybe they know something else too. They must know something else. It's not going to be very long here.
What do you think? What do you see as the significance of sort of the spiritual capacity of this? Like so often when we hear about opposition to these projects, it comes from a place of protest. But this is very different, right? A ceremony for the water. It seems like the faith communities are getting more and more involved in these kinds of struggles right now. Do you see a special significance in that?
Well, yeah, they're realizing. They probably are realizing, but they realize they got to give a voice too. You know, to preserve everything, to preserve our life. And that's what I see, you know, and it all comes down to probably spirituality. The whole Mother Earth is spiritual. You know, we get everything from her, especially the water. And to make sure everything grows, she sacrifices the water, it goes up in the sky and comes back down. She purifies it for us. And then that's the spirituality that I was taught by my grandparents. Everything comes. Don't take too much. Don't take everything. Leave some. And they always said a prayer whenever we caught a fish, whatever we did. There was always something spiritual about the life.
Well, thank you, Uncle.
All right.
I love your staff, by the way.
Yeah.
That face says a lot all by itself right there.
Yeah. Killer bear.
Don't mess with Uncle and his staff. Thank you for sharing with us.
All right, yeah. Hey, you never see you at any sweats with that?
I know, I gotta come to Sweat. It's been a while.
One tomorrow night.
What's that?
One tomorrow night.
There's one tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll come to that. Yeah. Yeah, I heard it got torn down and got put back up recently. Yeah.
What a scary guy.
Yeah, I heard a little bit about that. Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that they're still happening. It's been too long since I've been to one.
Yeah.
First time I met you was in a Sweat. Makes me feel good to see you here today.
Bella was around yesterday too.
Oh, really?
All weekend.
Oh.
She used to get excited when she saw you on TV.
Oh, I'd love to see Bella. You know, Ruben used to say all the time to not make excuses for why you couldn't come, but to make excuses so you can come.
Yeah,
exactly. I gotta be thinking more like that. I got all kinds of excuses about how busy I am and all that, but it doesn't really matter. And at the end of the day, it does so much for me to be in that space. I gotta make that time for me.
Well, that's a warrior, right? That's why a warrior said it's a good day to die.
There you go.
Because he was at peace with himself, at peace with the Creator, at peace with Mother Earth. Defender.
Could all use a lot more of that.
Yeah. When they say it's a good day to die, it means you're ready. Not ready to die, but ready to defend. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, that whole warrior up thing, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean to you?
Warrior up, yeah. It means time to get up, time to making excuses and do something. But you are doing something, and I'm not pointing at you. I'm not pointing at anybody, but we got to get up.
Well, we could always do more, and I think that part about taking care of ourselves is part that we forget about a lot of the time. A lot of people I know who do this work, they work themselves to their, like, you know, really not doing too well with their health, and they're, you know, it affects their personal lives in negative ways.
Exactly.
You know.
If you're hurting, you can't fight the battle.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to take care of ourselves first things first. Then take care of each other, and then take care of the land. How you doing, Cedar?
Good. Did you interview?
Yeah.
Did he ask good questions?
Yeah.
Not as good as his.
He said, what do you think about that big guy in the red over there?
Oh, yeah?
What do you mean, what's his name?
Yeah. Shout out to Garrett White Bear. So, yeah, we're out here, you know, lots of good people. Well, I think it's crazy how it's just like right in the city of Vancouver, you know? Like, if it were to happen, it would affect 2.5 million people just in Vancouver, man. And they don't even talk about, like it's practically a bomb right there. If it were to go off, like it explode, it would be devastating. We would feel it right here, you know, like a whiplash. Like we would feel the backlash. So, you know, like I said, shout out to Garrett White Bear. You know, what's up? You know, what's up? What's good? You know, we out here.
Mom, Cedar's mom. I'm here with my son, Scalus, and yeah, just here to help protect the waters, to make sure that the land is available for my son's children and his children's children. So that's our sacred responsibility. And as a mother, my son called me, so I'm here to stand with him united.
I didn't call you.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, you text
what?
me.
No, I'm just kidding. I tagged her in a post.
He called me and I didn't answer, so.
I tagged her in a post.
Yes. Yeah, no more tankers. No moss. All right.
You guys just won a big fight last year, was it? The year before, with the coal down there?
Yeah, actually 1 year ago today, we helped shut down, well, the Cherry Point.
Right.
Cherry Point, yes, but also we fought against Tesoro on the traditional lands of the Swinomish people.
Right.
Yeah, so we had a big event last year on this day,
On
so
this
it comes
day?
up on my feed. So
Oh, wow.
it's kind of like cool.
It's nice of Facebook to remind you of these things, eh?
I know, 5 years in a row. I'm either out in the water or near a canoe on
Yeah.
this day.
Really?
Yeah, which is like, wow.
Says something, right?
Yeah, 5 years in a row.
Yeah. It seems to keep happening on Mother's Day for some
Thank you to
reason.
Facebook.
Yeah, thanks, Facebook.
For the reminders.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I just had one pop up actually about I think it was last year's canoe, water ceremony.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I think it was on the same day last year.
It was because, we had the water ceremony. We did it at the Tesoro, so we had like 2,000-3,000 people. It's pretty exciting.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
Well, it sure does feel like it's going to be difficult for this thing to get built. Like when it seems like these companies are so big and so powerful, but yet you look at the last 5 years, how many projects have actually gotten completed. It seems like every one they wanted to do on the West Coast is ran into trouble.
I think
Well, we're the blue wall for a reason.
Yeah.
They call it the blue wall, you know. Like we're all I think progressive, you know. LA to Seattle, the most progressive places in the world, I think. I love being from Seattle. Really progressive. Anything that happens in Seattle that gets a cause, you're bound to see it riot the next day. we love the riot, you know, like the West Coast. You know, Tupac said it, you know. We don't protest, we riot.
Oh,
so you know, just like Pac, you know, we're resurrecting Pac today, you know. We're standing up against it, you know. They call it rioters, no. You call us this, that, no. We're just, you know, human beings that want the best for this land, you know. It's like I said, what happens when I want to take a shower? I want to take a drink of water. When this oil spill happens, you know, it just hit me right now. It hasn't happened yet because one thing I noticed in life, you don't know what you have until it's gone, or you always want what you don't have sometimes. So it's just like, what happens when this is gone, you know? Like all of this, when this is gone, when it's destructive, when an oil spill happens, what happens when I want to go right here and get some food, or you know what I mean? Like, or even just driving across Second Narrows Bridge, or driving across, you know, Lionsgate Bridge, seeing how beautiful it is. That moment right there where I think that everything's okay and that the world's beautiful is just gone. oil spill were to happen, you know, the moment where I'm driving with my little brother across that bridge, drinking a sip of water, like what happens when an oil spill happens, you know? This symbol of destruction, this pipeline, this symbol of destruction is being challenged, you know, by the love that I have for my family, my little brothers, and for my land. You know, the love that I have is getting challenged by this symbol of destruction, this pipeline from Kinder Morgan, you know. But everywhere around the world, you see people uniting, people come together. So, you know, let's come together. I mean, might as well, right? Like, no, I'm playing. But, yeah, like, let's come together, man. The world's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, this is one thing that we can take control of, you know?
Yeah.
We can do this together. I believe in it, you know? I really, really do believe in it, you know? I really love this land that I sit here on, you know? It's beautiful British Columbia for a reason. Let's keep it that way. Let's stay together and keep on moving forward with each other, or whatever that is, you know? Because what I saw in Standing Rock is I saw Muslims eating with Buddhists, Buddhists eating with Christians, Christians eating with Native Americans, and vice versa. And so it's just like, it's a beautiful cause right here. You know, this saved my life, you could say that. Like, this cause fighting here, because they say, you know, good job being an activist, or, you know, or I know, good job. You know, people say good job to, you know, from the work that I'm doing. And I'm using I statements, but I don't think I'm doing a good job. I think I'm being a good brother. I think I'm being a good son. You know, I think I'm being a good goddad. You know, I'm not no activist. I'm a good brother.
What do you think? Is that true?
Absolutely. I'm so proud of my son. That's absolutely. There's no greater honor. It's a beautiful day. We sang the Women's Warrior song and to honor Mother Earth and the sisters who are out there who come. We all come from the earth. We all eat from the earth, drink. I think I was remembering when I was a little girl and I was riding my bike and someone said, someday they're going to be bottling water and you'll have to pay for it. And I laughed so hard. Who would pay for free water?
Yeah.
It's the silliest thing. I never even thought of bottled water.
Huh.
And now look, it's
a reality.
Everyday reality.
Yeah.
So I hope we don't start to accept those things that go too far in life. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, let's find better ways for sure.
Well, happy Mother's Day.
Yay, thank you.
It was beautiful listening to that Woman's Warrior song there.
Oh, yeah. Out there.
I guess people are just starting to get on the canoes out there.
Yeah.
I think Cedar was just about to go get some water
Cedar,
down
you ready to get?
I'm not going on the boat.
You're not going to the canoe?
Nope.
Come on, son.
I'm doing a prayer out here.
Oh, are you? Oh, okay.
Oh, are you getting a video?
Yeah. I thought you were just as part of your shout out to Tupac still, I thought.
Oh yeah, Tupac, I don't know what it is.
Let's see, right here. Your Canada cup. You want me to get your cup, son?
Is that what you're going to use to go get water?
Money.
That's pretty classic. Use the Timmy's cup to go get the water for the water ceremony.
Here, let's go.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
It's hard to like. Yeah.
Oh, is it still live?
Yeah. You know, I'm gonna do a little Kinder Morgan 101 for a second. You want to go down to the water to get that water you're gonna use?
You could like hold it up. Should we do the prayer where they go out, or should we do it right now?
Maybe let's pull people together now. I think people are probably gonna take off if we don't do something together soon.
Okay. You guys let's try to get some people together for the water ceremony. Well, I mean, all-man water ceremony. Sure. Oh,
I'm just going to take you down to the water just for a sec before this water ceremony.
Couple seconds, minutes?
Yeah, a couple minutes, yeah.
Okay, all right, we'll get people together and then...
Okay, I'll come back and find you.
All right, yeah,
Okay.
We'll be right here.
Okay.
So,
Hey, how's it going? My name's Ben, for anybody watching this. I've got the honor of working for the Tsleil-Waututh Nation Sacred Trust Initiative, and I'm just going to walk down to the water a little bit just to tell you a little bit more for anybody who's watching who doesn't know the details of this proposal. What you're looking at over there in the background, those two big green things over there are holding tanks, storage tanks, for oil from primarily from Alberta, a mixture of conventional crude oil and bitumen. Right now, the existing Kinder Morgan Trans Mountain Pipeline was built in 1950s, was purchased by the Kinder Morgan company, let's see, what year was it, 2005. It carries about 300,000 barrels per day. Of that 300,000 barrels, 100,000 goes directly diagonally across the city of Vancouver way out to the Vancouver airport. So about 100,000 barrels is going directly from here to there. Of the remaining 200,000 barrels, there's 100,000 that goes through a spur in Sumas Mountain. Basically, the pipeline splits off and heads down to refineries in Washington State, close to where Debbie Parker from Tsleil-Waututh Tribes there was talking to you, up in Swinomish territory, all Coast Salish nations down on the U.S. side of the border. And of the remaining 100,000 barrels, there's 50,000 that goes to this terminal right in front of us here, and on many days you'll see a tanker, just hanging around here somewhere waiting to fill up. Currently there's between 20 and 60 tankers a year, usually around 40-ish, and that is largely to bring oil back and forth from Washington State or California for refining and consumption locally. The other 50,000 barrels goes to the Chevron refinery over there. I'm not sure if you can quite see it, but it's that big industrial looking facility there. So about half of what doesn't go to the airport, doesn't go to Washington State, gets split between the Kinder Morgan terminal and the Chevron refinery. So I think it's important to understand this for a number of different reasons. First one, though, is that Kinder Morgan often calls this a twinning or an expansion project. And this is a company that's got a really long history of basically buying up existing right-of-ways, buying up existing pipelines, and expanding them or replacing them, which is a pretty smart strategy because people are not particularly thrilled about new pipelines, especially in areas where there isn't a pipeline already. But if you buy an existing right-of-way, it makes it a lot easier to get the permits passed. So I never use the word expansion. I always talk about this as a new proposed pipeline project. The new pipeline would increase the amount of oil that's going through the combined line up to 890,000 barrels, so from 300 to 890. And there's actually studies that have been done that show that the absolute capacity would be something like 1.1 million barrels. So if they actually ran that line at its full capacity, it would move 1.1 million barrels. It's also really important to understand that that the kind of oil that they would be moving would change pretty dramatically. Right now it's a mixture of conventional crude oil and other fuel products. The existing pipeline is what's called a batch pipeline, so it can move any number of different fuel products. They can basically hold it in holding tanks along the route, flush the pipe, and then move a different fuel product. So it could move anything from like jet fuel to the airport, to conventional crude oil, to diluted bitumen. For anybody who's unfamiliar with diluted bitumen or bitumen, I mean, basically bitumen from Alberta, the stuff that's sometimes called oil sands or tar sands, is a mixture of sand, clay, and oil. Stuff is got the viscosity of something like peanut butter, and it's very difficult to move it through a pipe without blending in some natural gas byproduct diluent to basically dilute the oil product enough that it's got a viscosity such that you can actually push it through a pipe. So the proposed new pipeline would be primarily for the sake of exporting diluted bitumen, the kind of oil that comes from Alberta, which is actually needs to be run at higher pressure, at higher heat, and it also has this gas blended in, which can be quite dangerous. In fact, can be volatile. So I've actually been told that we talk too much about oil spills and not enough about releases or even explosions. One of the pieces that doesn't get talked about nearly enough is up there on Burnaby Mountain behind me, which of course was the site of some big protests. What was that, a couple years ago now? That site was, for one thing, is going to have a hole dug right through the middle of it to get to that terminal. But it, is also a place where there's a whole bunch of these holding tanks, these storage tanks. And the fire chief of Burnaby is quite concerned about the new proposal because those holding tanks would be so close together that basically if one of them caught fire, they wouldn't be able to get close enough to put them out, and basically the entire facility could go up. So we're talking about an extremely dangerous facility right on Burnaby Mountain. And of course, for anybody who's from out of town and doesn't know this, the top of that mountain is Simon Fraser University. So there's thousands of students, teachers, community members living right around that area who would be put in real danger by this proposal. And of course, there's a tremendous amount of risk, not only, for an explosion and the immediate impacts of that, but the gases that are, in the oil, in the form of diluent or even just the oil itself, are highly toxic. You're talking about carcinogens, cancer-causing chemicals, stuff that can have serious implications for reproductive health, for mental health. There's only one known case of a diluted bitumen spill, which was the one in Kalamazoo, Michigan. At least it's the only one I know of. There may be others that are less well known, but the spill of diluted bitumen in Kalamazoo was extremely difficult to clean up. I mean, even a spill of conventional crude oil is difficult to clean up. A successful cleanup in open water, something like 15% of the oil being recovered. A spill of diluted bitumen, basically what you see happen is that when the oil mixes with sediment and turbidity, like gunk in the water, and the water moving around, to put it in layman's terms, what you see happen is that the tar separates from the gas and sinks to the bottom in the form of tar balls. You can actually see pictures of that from Kalamazoo, Michigan. And then the gas is then released into the air. I heard one story of a family who lived close to the spill in Kalamazoo, Michigan, who said that the smell was so awful, like rotten eggs, that not only did they leave their house immediately, but even when they came back to get some of their stuff like a week later, they decided to leave it there because they just didn't want to bring anything that had that smell associated with it to the hotel that they were staying in. So we don't often hear that much about the smell piece, but it's a reminder of just how toxic and how dangerous this stuff really is. So anyway, I'm here down at the water telling you all this because we're in the midst of this water ceremony that's just getting underway. Just over here, there's folks getting on the canoes. If you didn't get a chance to see the press conference earlier, when the video's been posted, you'll be able to go back and watch the full story. Also, there's going to be some higher quality video from a few different videographers who've been down here. So you'll be able to watch some videos that are produced from it. There's about to be a water ceremony that actually takes place on the land, and I'm going to walk over there and see if we can get a glimpse of what's going on the land. But just for anybody who's watching, I just wanted to make sure you had some perspective on what is being proposed. This company, Kinder Morgan, formerly known as Enron Liquid Pipelines LLP, Richard Kinder and Bill Morgan, two former Enron executives, they started this company. And it's one of the largest pipeline companies, in fact, one of the largest energy companies in North America, possibly even the world. Oh, thanks, Mari. I can put my arms down. I can't believe Kevin was doing that for so long. Maybe we should go over to the canoes and see what we can see from there. But yeah, I just wanted to give you a little perspective on who this company is. They bought the pipeline in 2005. There's already been a number of incidents along the pipeline over the years. There's already been about an average of one oil spill a year. There's never been more than 4 years that have gone by in the whole lifetime of this pipeline where there hasn't been a spill. The Tsleil-Waututh Nation has done a tremendous amount of work to help people understand what the real nature of this risk is. Of course, there's that spiritual connection to the water, but they've also hired, scientists and researchers to do peer-reviewed research that really illustrates the risk to Burrard Inlet, to the people living in this region. The long story short is it's a tremendous amount of risk. Nobody can guarantee that there'll never be an oil spill. In fact, they've estimated the risk is, as high as 92% over the first 50 years, if you're including the whole length of the pipeline. Just in the inlet, the risk of a spill was between 70 and 80%, depending whether you're talking about a smaller or larger incident. Long story short is, nobody can guarantee there'll never be a spill. There's a tremendous amount of risk to everybody in this region, and it's risk that we really don't need. This is one of the other things that's pretty remarkable about the work that's being done by Tsleil-Waututh Nation is, there's this perception that folks who oppose projects like this are anti-development. The truth is that people who are doing this kind of work are actually, very much in favor of the right kind of development that creates good jobs for people. I'm just picking up my stuff because I'm noticing, I think the water ceremony on the land is actually starting over there, so maybe let's head on over there. So on the water, you're seeing some people in the background there, maybe that are just getting started with the canoes heading out for the water ceremony. If you haven't had a chance to be a part of one of these ceremonies, they're really, really a beautiful thing to be a part of. It's really a privilege and an honor to join the traditional people of this land. the people who you know, have not ceded or given up this land, but are so welcoming and generous with their time and sharing their perspective and their spirituality with all of us who are here. And you know, it as a Canadian, you know, as we approach the 150th anniversary of this thing we call Canada, I find it a little bit frustrating to think about this in the context that, like, you know, there's all this history that goes unrecognized. You know, even to call it the 150th, I think does a disservice to the land, to the people, to our history, to our heritage, because that heritage that, you know, came before us arriving here is a big part of what this land is, and you know, should not be an afterthought. It should be front and center in the way that we think about who we are as a people in this land. I haven't had a chance to look at the comments or questions that people are posting, but I can hold that if that's kind of weird, right? Thank you. You're weird. But yeah, if you've got any questions that you want answered, feel free to just throw them down in the comments field. I'm just walking over to where everybody's getting ready for the paddle over there. Actually, can I hand you this stuff, Mary? Thank you. There's a whole bunch of people helping out today. If you get a chance, send a thank you to the volunteers from Sacred Trust and from all the other groups who've come down here to you know, help make this all possible today. I'm going to switch the view over here, and I'll shut up so you can hear what some of the local people are having to say. Thank you.
My spiritual uncle right there, Squamish, Nolowitz, Robert Haney, I was not smart. One heart, one mind, one prayer together, and that's how I want you to paddle. That's how I want your mind to be. I want your spirit to be united as one. I want you to feel that reciprocal relationship with spirit. And when our matriarchs and my mother and all the ladies in the canoe here start putting medicine down and their prayers down, support them. We have some sisters in each canoe. I want you to do a prayer as well. And say a prayer and support them. You brothers out there paddling with them. Support them and be warriors today. Be the Tsleil-Waututh warriors. Use that spirit of that song to pick yourself up and to cleanse anything, any negativity away from you. When you're out on the water, have a pure mind and a pure heart. And know that the reason why we're winning because of prayer. The reason why we're winning is because of our reciprocal relationship to spirit, that no millions of dollars can stop us when we believe. And when spirit helps, the ancestors are behind us, and we will beat Kinder Morgan. We will beat them. Support my mother and all the matriarchs and paddle in unison together. Don't give up. Never give up. Keep your paddling going. No matter what, put a prayer in if you need strength. Okay, so now you're...
Alright guys, okay, so we're going to start marking away. Remember the people that you're partners with. That's the same seat that you're going to be in when we're in the canoes. Alright, let's go.
Hey, crew first.
Yeah.
Now everyone else, please join me, my uncle Robert, my uncle Phil, and others. We all want you to share a prayer while they're out there. Let's pray together.
Oh, okay, yeah. I won't leave. Okay.
Second crew, go ahead. Third crew, follow your skipper here.
Okay, thanks so much, Kevin.
Okay, everyone else, come join us for a prayer. I'm crying again.
Still live streaming here.
Oh,
good. You want to still live stream? Hey, it was a beautiful day.
It's not over. Still got a big meal.
Yeah.
Peace. Okay, come on, you guys. Want to come join
Right.
us for a prayer? More sun. Theater. Oh yeah, we're gonna go do water.
Guess not today.
Not today. No. What a beautiful day, though.
Yeah, this turned into a gorgeous day, didn't it?
Wow, how lucky. Always.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, how are you? Mind if I ask you a question on a live stream?
Sure.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you tell us your name?
Lena.
Lena, how are you?
Good.
My name's Ben. What brings you here today?
I guess a lot of things. I just really wanted to be here in solidarity with the Pacific Islanders and Tsleil-Waututh and all the Coast Salish people in standing against the Kinder Morgan and fossil fuel extraction.
Right on.
And yeah, it's a really huge honor to be able to partake in the ceremony. So,
Right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Really happy to be here.
Tell us more about yourself. What do you do?
I work as a qualitative analyst at First Nations Health Authority. So I do a lot of, I guess, research on Indigenous health and focusing on lived experiences through interviews and sharing circles.
That's so cool. Is for anybody who's out there watching this, is there anything that you think people should be thinking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to follow up on what's already been said. Yeah, just thinking about the land that we're living on and what our responsibility is to it, not just what we, and being grateful for what we get from it.
Very cool. Well, thanks for taking a minute to talk.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry to just kind of tap you on the shoulder. Cool. Here's a high five for you. Thanks. Cool. All right, we're just gonna wander over to the ceremony going down over here. Little puppy break. What's up?
So we're about to do a water ceremony right now, and if you're just tuning in, we're out here to do a celebration, to go in the canoes with islanders from Fiji, right? So we got so their islands are going underwater because of the rising temperatures of the sea, you know, and the change of global warming. So, you know, they came out here to show support because we're on the end where it affects us, and affects us in the way of extraction. It affects them in the long run. So like, we're coming together through solidarity. You know, we have all these different people here, all these different ethnicities and races coming together. So it's a celebration of life and a celebration of solidarity. It's a celebration to stand up against Kinder Morgan. And so what we're doing right now is we're doing an on-land water ceremony where they're going right up to the what is it called?
The Kinder Morgan terminal over there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna go do the online water ceremony.
Hi, how are you?
He's live streaming. Let's go.
You want to talk to the Tsleil-Waututh Sacred Trust live stream?
No.
Okay, well then I won't point it at you.
No.
That's creepy. You say, can I ask you a question?
Well, I just don't want people to not know that I'm pointing a live video in their face.
No one wants to do it. Anthony, can I ask you a question?
See, he's better at it than I am.
Please. I'm gonna have to use this water.
Alright, I'll eat a chewy bar. Alright, let's follow these guys. Hey there, Mike Gildersleeve, how you doing? It's always cool when you can see people you know popping up on the live stream. Well, we're getting low on battery, so I'm not sure how much more of this we're going to be able to stream for you, but we're going to keep going as long as we can. Jimbo! Good. We're live streaming. You want to say anything to the people?
Water's life, yo.
There you go. Truth.
Yeah. Jack, is that? We're in a big circle here. Make yourself comfortable. Maybe don't go too far into the water. Someone except behind us, there's less logs to sit down behind us. So, let's sing about. Oh, let's sing about that. When they get in the boat. What's the teacher? You got time? They're still moving. Your truck is
See the kayaks heading out over there. Maybe still getting together.
Sit behind me and then I know when I'm on camera. Sit right here. Didn't want to come over here.
10% running low. Almost out of battery anyway.
Hey guys, actually we don't have to be in a circle, just talk to my uncle here. If you want to sit here and make yourself comfortable and we can watch them go out, we're going to sing a song and start doing a ceremony.